What if I told you that behind the glamorous lifestyle of the wealthy elite, there lurks a web of obsession, deceit, and chilling murder plots? Tonight, we're diving into the dark and twisted tale of a wealthy sugar mommy whose dangerous game spirals out of control when she becomes entangled with two young lovers. What secrets is she hiding, and how far will she go to protect her dark desires? Buckle up, because this is one bedtime story you won't want to miss. Stay with us until the end as we unravel the shocking details of this sinister plot, revealing the lengths some will go to when love, power, and obsession collide. The story begins in the opulent corridors of an exclusive high-rise, where we meet Sylvia, a wealthy sugar mommy known for her mysterious allure and lavish lifestyle. Sylvia's life seemed perfect on the outside, adorned with luxury, glamour, and endless parties. But beneath the surface, a sinister void gnawed at her soul. Enter Jake and Lily, two vibrant young lovers caught in the throes of passion and adventure. Jake, with his rugged charm and rebellious spirit, complemented Lily's delicate beauty and infectious enthusiasm. They were inseparable, their love burning brightly against the backdrop of Sylvia's shadowed world. Sylvia first encountered them at one of her extravagant parties, drawn by their youthful energy and untainted love. Little did Jake and Lily know that this fateful meeting would ensnare them in Sylvia's twisted fantasies. As Sylvia's fascination with the couple grew, she charmed them with promises of wealth and excitement, drawing them ever closer into her tangled web. At first, the dynamic seemed harmless, driven by curiosity and the allure of opulence. Jake and Lily were dazzled by Sylvia's culture and sophistication, oblivious to the darkness lurking beneath her gracious facade. But soon, Sylvia's interest in them turned possessive, her intentions clouded by a dangerous mix of desire and control. She craved their adoration, their youth, their freedom, seeking to possess what they shared with each other. Unbeknownst to Jake and Lily, Sylvia began orchestrating their lives, manipulating their choices, and testing the boundaries of their love. As the days turned into weeks, the couple subtly sensed a shift. The once thrilling encounters with Sylvia started feeling like a gilded cage. The lines between friendship and obsession blurred as the stakes grew higher, and Sylvia's true nature began to emerge. Jake noticed Sylvia's increasingly invasive demands, while Lily felt the weight of Sylvia's expectations pressing upon her. It was as though a dark cloud slowly enveloped their lives, suffocating the joy they once knew. The initial dynamics that appeared as a scintillating adventure began morphing into a nightmare, revealing the beginning of Sylvia's unhinged plot. As Sylvia's grip tightened, Jake and Lily faced choices that would test their love and resilience, pulling them deeper into the chilling game that Sylvia had devised. The stage was set, and the actors unknowingly stepped into their roles, with Sylvia as the puppet master, ready to pull the strings of her deadly scheme. The second practice involves Sylvia's growing obsession with Jake. Her fixation on him was more than just a fascination. It was a consuming need that stemmed from a place of deep void and insecurity. Sylvia had always lived in a world where everything was within her grasp, but she had never truly experienced the purity of love and passion that Jake and Lily shared. This absence gnawed at her, leaving her craving something she couldn't buy. Her wealth and power only magnified her loneliness, and Jake became a symbol of everything she desired but could never have. Sylvia's childhood, marred by neglect and emotional coldness, left her yearning for true connection. Her parents' relentless pursuit of status and success meant she grew up in luxury but lacked genuine affection. As an adult, Sylvia tried to fill this void through lavish parties and superficial relationships, but nothing ever seemed to satiate her hunger for real connection. When she saw Jake, his rugged charm and the raw, unfiltered emotions he shared with Lily, she saw an opportunity to experience the love she had been denied. Sylvia's psychological state began to unravel as her obsession deepened. She started to picture herself in Lily's place, dreaming of a love that felt both forbidden and intoxicating. Her mind twisted their interactions, interpreting Jake's polite gestures and friendly smiles as signs of unspoken desire. This delusion grew stronger each day, driving her to orchestrate situations where she could be close to him, hoping to spark a connection. Her actions, once calculated and discreet, became erratic and intrusive. Sylvia began to lose her grip on reality, her actions shifting from subtle manipulation to outright control. She arranged for Jake to receive exclusive job offers, showered him with gifts, and even tried to create rifts between him and Lily, all to bind him closer to her. The thrill of the chase and the power she wielded over their lives fed her obsession, but also pushed her further into a psychological abyss. Sylvia's obsession with Jake wasn't just about love. It was about control, possession, and the fear of irrelevance. She saw Jake as her last chance to reclaim her youth, to feel alive and desired once more. But this dangerous cocktail of emotions led her down a path of self-destruction, as her need to possess Jake began to consume her entirely. The lines between reality and fantasy blurred, and Sylvia's actions grew darker, setting the stage for a chilling and deadly confrontation. The young lover's secret was conceived in moments of quiet urgency, a whispered plan born out of a shared fear that Sylvia's obsessions were spiraling dangerously out of control. Jake and Lily, their bond stronger than ever despite the mounting pressure, decided that the only way to reclaim their lives was to distance themselves from Sylvia's gilded prison. They knew that escaping her grasp would not be simple, but their love gave them courage and resolve. They planned to leave the city, seeking refuge in a small, picturesque town far away from Sylvia's reach, hoping to start anew in a place untouched by her influence. The plan was to be executed quietly, under the cover of normalcy, until the moment came for them to disappear together. But the lovers underestimated Sylvia's ability to perceive even the smallest shifts in their behavior. As Jake and Lily plotted their escape, Sylvia's intuition sharpened, her jealousy and paranoia bubbling just beneath the surface. She could sense the change in their demeanor, the stolen glances and hushed conversations that hinted at a secret she wasn't privy to. Her mind, already teetering on the edge, began constructing wild theories fueled by her consuming need to keep Jake close. In her eyes, any move they made that deviated from her control was a betrayal, a threat to the fantasy she had meticulously crafted. Sylvia's wrath was ignited one evening when she stumbled upon Lily's journal, a book filled with handwritten notes and dreams of a future free from Sylvia's shadow. Reading Lily's words was like a dagger to her heart, each page a stark reminder of the reality she could never have. The realization that Jake and Lily were planning to leave her life not only shattered her delusions, but also sparked a dangerous resolve. Sylvia's reaction was swift and terrifying in its precision. She intercepted their communications, spreading seeds of doubt and mistrust between the young lovers. She orchestrated scenarios to make Jake question Lily's loyalty, manipulating their emotions to create friction. Sylvia's tactics grew more desperate and menacing each day, driven by a potent mix of jealousy and fear of abandonment. The lover's secret, meant to secure their freedom, inadvertently trapped them further in Sylvia's web. The more they tried to outmaneuver her, the more unpredictable and violent her responses became. Jake and Lily's serene plans for a new life began to crumble under the weight of Sylvia's vengeance. Sylvia's grip on reality had finally snapped, and her actions grew perilously close to crossing the line into irreversible harm. She was no longer just a wealthy woman with a dangerous obsession. She became a force of chaos, driven to destroy what she could not possess. The once hopeful plan of escape became a desperate fight for survival, as Jake and Lily faced the full fury of Sylvia's unraveling mind. The plot unfolds as Sylvia's discovery of the lover's secret sends her down an even darker path. Realizing Jake and Lily's intention to escape her grasp, Sylvia's mind fully unravels, leading her to conceive a twisted murder plot. She was no longer willing to merely control them. She needed to eliminate them to preserve her distorted fantasy. Sylvia's wealth and connections provided her with resources most could only dream of. She employed private investigators to track Jake and Lily's every move, compiling a dossier of information that could be used to manipulate and ultimately execute her deadly plan. Sylvia's first step was to isolate the lovers further, ensuring they felt completely alone and vulnerable. She cut off Jake's job opportunities, making it seem like his sudden prospects were a cruel joke. Lily's social circles were infiltrated, and rumors were spread to alienate her from potential allies. As their world shrank, Sylvia's influence grew, tightening the noose around their necks with chilling precision. One fateful night, Sylvia orchestrated a seemingly innocent invitation, luring Jake and Lily to her penthouse under the guise of reconciliation and a final farewell. The lovers, desperate and uncertain, decided to attend, hoping that perhaps they could negotiate their freedom. They arrived at the opulent apartment, the air thick with tension and unspoken dread. Sylvia greeted them with a facade of warmth, but her eyes betrayed her true intentions. As the evening progressed, Sylvia's demeanor shifted. She began to speak in riddles, her language laced with veiled threats and dark promises. The lovers realized too late that they had walked into a trap, their hopes of a peaceful departure dashed by the palpable danger that now surrounded them. The penthouse, once a symbol of luxury, transformed into a gilded prison with Sylvia as the warden. Sylvia's madness reached its peak when she revealed her meticulously crafted plan. She intended to stage an accident that would claim their lives, ensuring she remained unscathed and innocent in the eyes of the world. Her twisted logic dictated that if she couldn't have their love, no one else could. The plan was chilling in its simplicity. A car crash on a deserted road, orchestrated to look like a tragic mishap. Sylvia had even arranged for the necessary bribes to cover up any inconvenient truths. Jake and Lily, cornered and terrified, knew they had to act quickly. They played along, feigning compliance while desperately seeking a way out. The night drew on, the tension becoming unbearable. Sylvia, intoxicated by her own delusions, failed to notice the subtle signals exchanged between the lovers. As she detailed her gruesome plot, Jake and Lily seized their moment. With a sudden burst of courage and determination, Jake confronted Sylvia, distracting her long enough for Lily to make a frantic call for help. The situation escalated rapidly, the room filled with chaos and fear as Sylvia's carefully laid plans began to crumble. The sound of sirens in the distance marked the turning point, signaling that their plea for rescue had been heard. In a final act of desperation, Sylvia lunged at Jake, her once cunning eyes now wild with rage and despair. But it was too late. The authorities burst in, halting her murderous intent. Sylvia, finally stripped of her power and control, was taken away, her world of luxury and deceit collapsing around her. Jake and Lily, though shaken and scarred by their ordeal, emerged from the nightmare with their love intact, their bond stronger than ever. The twisted saga of Sylvia's obsession came to a harrowing end, but the echoes of her madness would linger, a dark reminder of the lengths to which desperation and unrequited desire could drive a soul. Executing the plan, Sylvia meticulously crafted every detail of her murder plot, drawing from her vast wealth and manipulating her network of contacts. Her first step was to create a false sense of security for Jake and Lily. Sylvia invited them to a remote, luxurious estate under the guise of an exclusive weekend getaway. The estate was chosen for its isolation, far from prying eyes and any immediate help. Sylvia ensured that the staff was loyal and discreet, promising them generous compensation for their silence and cooperation. Sylvia's manipulative tactics began with subtle, psychological games. In the days leading up to the getaway, she sent lavish gifts and messages of reconciliation to Jake and Lily, convincing them that her intentions were pure and that she merely wanted to make amends. Her charm and apparent sincerity wore down their suspicions, making them believe that perhaps she had moved past her obsession. On the day of the trip, Sylvia personally chauffeured the couple to the estate, engaging them in pleasant conversation and recounting fond memories of their times together. Her demeanor was poised and genuine, masking the sinister plans brewing beneath her calm exterior. Once they arrived at the estate, Sylvia guided them on a tour, highlighting its opulent features while subtly isolating them from any potential escape routes. As night fell, Sylvia implemented the next phase of her plan. She hosted an extravagant dinner, complete with rare wines and gourmet dishes, creating an atmosphere of relaxation and indulgence. Throughout the evening, she carefully monitored their consumption, ensuring that they were sufficiently inebriated and less vigilant. Her conversations were strategically designed to lull them into a false sense of security, making them believe that the weekend would end harmoniously. With Jake and Lily sufficiently distracted, Sylvia excused herself under the pretense of checking on the final preparations for their stay. In reality, she retreated to a hidden control room where she monitored the estate's surveillance system. Sylvia had installed cameras throughout the property, allowing her to track their every move and ensure that her plan would unfold without any unforeseen interruptions. Sylvia's final move involved a carefully orchestrated accident. She had tampered with the estate's electrical system, creating a dangerous short circuit that would trigger a fire in the guest wing where Jake and Lily were staying. To cover her tracks, she planted evidence suggesting that they had been careless with candles during their romantic evening. Her plan was to lock them in their room, ensuring they would not escape the ensuing blaze. As Sylvia returned to the dinner table, she noticed the couple's growing drowsiness, a result of the sedative she had slipped into their drinks. She offered to show them to their room, guiding them with gentle, reassuring words. Once they were securely inside, Sylvia locked the door behind them and activated the the electrical malfunction, setting her deadly plan into motion. The fire spread quickly, fueled by the estate's opulent furnishings. Sylvia retreated to her control room, watching the chaos unfold on her monitors with a chilling detachment. She had arranged for a trusted associate to call the fire department at the precise moment, ensuring that the blaze would be reported too late for any rescue efforts. As the flames devoured the guest wing, Sylvia calmly exited the control room, her facade of panic and despair carefully crafted. She made the desperate call, explaining that an unfortunate accident had claimed the lives of her beloved guests. Her alibi was airtight, and the bought-off staff corroborated her version of events, painting her as a distraught hostess who had done everything possible to save Jake and Lily. In the aftermath, Sylvia's manipulative strategies and cunning execution seemed to pay off. The authorities ruled the incident as a tragic accident, and Sylvia mourned publicly, her performance convincing enough to assuage any lingering doubts. However, beneath the surface of her composed exterior, the darkness of her actions left a permanent mark on her soul, forever entwining her fate with the young lovers she had sought to destroy. Just when Sylvia thought her plan was foolproof, unexpected twists and complications began to unravel her meticulously crafted murder plot. As the fire blazed through the guest wing, an unforeseen event took place that Sylvia could never have predicted: a sudden downpour. The heavy rain dampened the flames, preventing the fire from spreading as rapidly as she had anticipated. The estate's advanced fire suppression system, which Sylvia had overlooked in her overconfidence, activated automatically, further stalling the inferno and giving Jake and Lily precious moments to regain their senses. Jake, groggy but alert enough to sense the danger, struggled to rouse Lily. Her eyes fluttered open, filled with confusion and fear. The smell of smoke was thick in the air, and the sound of crackling flames echoed through the hallways. Realizing the severity of their situation, Jake sprang into action, desperately searching for an escape route. Sylvia's plan, once seemingly impenetrable, now faced a critical flaw: the couple's sheer will to survive. Meanwhile, Sylvia, watching from her control room, was gripped with panic. Her perfect scenario was falling apart before her eyes. She frantically tried to disable the fire suppression system, but the estate's automated safety protocols thwarted her every effort. The more she tried to regain control, the more chaotic the situation became. The power outage she had planned to ensure their entrapment backfired, setting off emergency protocols that unlocked the estate's main doors. Jake and Lily, aided by the unexpected turn of events, managed to break a window and climb out, adrenaline fueling their escape. As they stumbled into the pouring rain, their clothes soaked and lungs burning from smoke inhalation, they realized they had narrowly evaded a grisly end. But their ordeal was far from over. Sylvia, now fully unhinged and desperate, wouldn't let them slip away so easily. Sylvia abandoned her control room, her composed facade shattered by the unraveling disaster. She grabbed a flashlight and a concealed firearm, determined to find Jake and Lily in the sprawling grounds of the estate. The once elegant property transformed into a menacing labyrinth under the stormy night, with shadows dancing and the rain masking footsteps. Sylvia's relentless pursuit underscored her descent into madness. As Jake and Lily navigated the treacherous landscape, they stumbled upon an old gardener's shed, taking refuge to catch their breath and devise a plan. With the rain masking their whispers, they resolved that confronting Sylvia directly was their only option. Armed with makeshift weapons, a rusty shovel and a heavy wrench, They steeled themselves for the confrontation. Sylvia's flashlight beam cut through the darkness, her voice calling out with a chilling sweetness that belied her murderous intent. As she approached the shed, the tension reached a breaking point. Jake and Lily, crouched and ready, prepared to face their tormentor. Sylvia, driven by her deranged obsession, swung the shed door open, her eyes wild with desperation. The ensuing struggle was chaotic and brutal, a desperate clash of survival against insanity. In the frenzied scuffle, the flashlight's beam flickered wildly, illuminating the raw terror on Lily's face and the fierce determination in Jake's eyes. Sylvia's grip on the gun wavered as Jake lunged, using the shovel to knock the weapon from her hands. The firearm skidded across the wet floor, out of reach. Lily seized the moment, swinging the wrench with all her might, striking Sylvia and disarming her completely. Disoriented and defeated, Sylvia's hold on reality shattered further. The once powerful and manipulative woman now lay vulnerable, her delusions exposed. As the distant wail of approaching sirens grew louder, Jake and Lily stood over Sylvia, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and relief. They had survived her twisted plot, but the scars of her obsession would linger forever. The authorities arrived just in time to witness the aftermath of the harrowing encounter. Sylvia, now a broken figure, was taken into custody, her elaborate facade finally crumbling. Jake and Lily, though shaken and exhausted, found solace in each other's arms, their love and resilience having triumphed against the darkness. The unexpected twists and complications in Sylvia's murder plot not only saved their lives, but also exposed the true depths of her madness, ending her reign of terror. The climactic confrontation begins as Jake and Lily clung to each other, knowing that the final showdown with Sylvia was inevitable. The rain, which had initially been their savior, now added an eerie, almost cinematic backdrop to their impending clash. The once opulent estate, now a shadowy labyrinth, became the stage for their ultimate test of survival. Sylvia, armed with the desperation of a cornered predator, prowled the premises, flashlight flickering as thunder rumbled in the distance. Tension thickened the air as she called out, her voice a haunting mix of sweet allure and chilling menace. Her calculated facade had given way to raw madness, her desire for control and possession having morphed into a deadly resolve. Jake and Lily, despite their terror, steeled themselves for what they knew would be a fight for their very lives. They could hear Sylvia's footsteps crunching on the gravel, getting closer and closer. In their makeshift hideout, they exchanged a silent pact. This would end tonight, one way or another. When Sylvia finally appeared at the entrance of the shed, her eyes gleamed with a sinister mix of fury and triumph. She stood silhouetted by the flashlight's beam, her voice dripping with twisted affection. "Oh, my dear Jake and Lily, did you really think you could escape me?" She hissed, her hands steady around the grip of the gun. Heart pounding, Jake stepped forward, his voice trembling but determined. "Sylvia, this madness ends now. We won't let you take away our lives, our love." Lily, standing beside him, nodded in fierce agreement, her makeshift weapon poised for action. Sylvia's face contorted with rage, her finger twitching on the trigger. "If I can't have you, then no one will." With that, the confrontation erupted into chaos. Jake lunged forward, aiming to disarm Sylvia, while Lily swung her wrench with all her might. The shed became a battleground of desperation and raw survival instincts. The flashlight clattered to the ground, its beam casting wild, erratic shadows as it illuminated the violent struggle. Jake managed to wrestle the gun from Sylvia's grip, but she was relentless, her nails clawing for control and her screams echoing through the storm. Lily's wrench connected with Sylvia's arm, a sickening crack echoing through the shed. Sylvia cried out in pain, but continued her frenzied assault, driven by a mix of obsession and fury. The struggle was intense and brutal, with both sides fighting as if their lives depended on it, because they did. Just as Sylvia seemed to gain the upper hand, pinning Jake to the ground, Lily's unwavering resolve kicked in. She hurled herself at Sylvia, knocking her off balance and giving Jake the opening he needed. He grabbed the gun, standing over Sylvia with a grim determination blazing in his eyes. Sylvia, finally realizing the futility of her actions, lay on the ground, her once calculated demeanor shattered. The sound of approaching sirens signaled that the authorities were near. Jake and Lily, panting and drenched, knew that their ordeal was coming to an end. Sylvia, now a broken, desperate figure, looked up at them with a mix of rage and despair. "This isn't over," she spat, but her voice lacked the conviction it once held. As the police arrived and took Sylvia into custody, Jake and Lily shared a moment of profound relief. They had faced the darkest depths of human obsession and emerged victorious, their love and courage unbroken. The nightmare that had threatened to consume them was finally over, leaving them stronger and more united than ever. The climactic confrontation had reached its end, bringing closure to Sylvia's twisted narrative and allowing Jake and Lily to reclaim their lives. The aftermath of the confrontation left a lasting impact on everyone involved. As Sylvia was led away in handcuffs, the rain continued to pour down, washing away the remnants of the night's chaos, but not the emotional scars. Jake and Lily, though physically exhausted and battered, felt a wave of relief wash over them. They held each other tightly, grateful to have survived Sylvia's deadly obsession. The days following the confrontation were a blur of police interviews, medical checkups, and media scrutiny. Sylvia's arrest made headlines, the story of a wealthy sugar mommy's twisted love triangle captivating the public's imagination. The full extent of her manipulations and crimes came to light, painting a chilling picture of a woman driven to madness by her unfulfilled desires. Jake and Lily, however, were determined to move past the nightmare. They decided to leave the city, opting for the small, picturesque town they had once dreamed about. With the help of supportive friends and family, they found a quaint little house by a serene lake, a stark contrast to the opulence and danger they had left behind. The tranquility of their new home provided a healing sanctuary where they could rebuild their lives and focus on their love. In the following months, they sought therapy to cope with the trauma they had endured, learning to navigate the complex emotions that Sylvia's twisted games had left behind. Their relationship, tested but unbroken, grew stronger as they leaned on each other for support. The shadow of Sylvia's influence slowly faded, replaced by the warmth of new beginnings and shared dreams. Sylvia's fate, however, was far less hopeful. As she sat in her prison cell, the reality of her actions weighed heavily on her. The wealth and power she had once wielded meant nothing in the cold confines of the institution. Her trial was swift, the evidence overwhelming, and she was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Isolated and stripped of her influence, Sylvia had nothing but time to reflect on the consequences of her obsession. Her mind, once sharp and cunning, now grappled with the emptiness and remorse that marked her downfall. Jake and Lily's journey of recovery wasn't without its challenges. The memories of their ordeal resurfaced in unexpected ways, but they faced each hurdle together. They found solace in the small, everyday moments: morning cups of coffee by the lake, evening walks in the town square, and the simple joy of being free from Sylvia's menacing shadow. Their love, once threatened by a force of darkness, now flourished in the light of their new life. They grew stronger as individuals and as a couple, turning their harrowing experience into a testament to their resilience and commitment. The community, having heard of their story, welcomed them with open arms, offering support and friendship that helped mend their wounded spirits. As for the estate where the final confrontation took place, it remained a haunting symbol of Sylvia's descent into madness. The luxurious property, once filled with opulence and secrets, stood abandoned, its grandeur overshadowed by the sinister events that had transpired within its walls. Over time, nature began to reclaim the grounds, as if trying to erase the memory of the dark deeds committed there. In the end, the tale of Sylvia's deadly obsession became a cautionary story, a reminder of the dangers of unbridled desire and the destructive power of manipulation. But for Jake and Lily, it was a story of survival, love, and the unbreakable bond that had carried them through the darkest of times. They looked forward to a future filled with hope and the promise of a new beginning, leaving the past where it belonged. In summary, the story of Sylvia's deadly obsession with Jake and Lily serves as a powerful cautionary tale about the dark side of desire and the consequences of manipulating others for personal gain. It reminds us that even the most opulent of lives can hide deep-seated insecurities and unfulfilled desires. Sylvia's descent into madness underscores the importance of seeking genuine connections and the dangers of trying to control others to fill emotional voids. The impact of Sylvia's crimes on Jake and Lily was profound, testing their love and resilience to the very brink. Yet, their ability to survive and ultimately triumph over the odds is a testament to the strength of their bond. Their journey reminds us that true love requires trust, communication, and the courage to face and overcome challenges together. The lingering questions about Sylvia's motivations and the extent of her manipulation leave us pondering the complexities of human behavior and the fine line between love and obsession. What drives a person to such extremes? How far would you go to satisfy your deepest desires? These questions linger long after the tale ends, compelling us to reflect on our own lives and relationships. As you close your eyes tonight, let this story serve as a reminder to cherish the genuine connections in your life and to be mindful of the dangers of trying to control others. Remember, true happiness cannot be bought or forced. It is found in the honest, unfiltered moments we share with those we love. Thank you for joining us on this dark bedtime story. If you enjoyed this tale, make sure to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next captivating story. Sleep well, and may your dreams be free of the shadows we've explored tonight.